Hi everyone. In this video, we'll be looking into a game between Grandmaster Alexander Prudke and Grandmaster Norderberg Abdusattrov from the round 8 of FIDE Chess Olympiad 2024 between Serbia and Uzbekistan. Let's jump right into this game. Alexander Prudke, starting with the white pieces, go for 1 e4. Abdusattrov replies with c6, d4, d5, e5, bishop to f5, h4, q into b6, a4, a5, g4, bishop to d7, rook to h3, h5, rook to b3, q into c7, g5, g6, rook to e3, bishop to g4, knight to e2, e6, f3, bishop to f5, b3, knight to e7, knight to g3, c5, rook to c3, knight on e to c6, knight takes on f5, g takes on f5, f4, c takes on d4, rook to h3, knight to d7, knight to a3, q into b6, bishop to d3, knight to c5, knight to b5, rook to c8, bishop to b2, knight to e4, king to e2, bishop to c5, q into g1, king to f8, rook to d1, king to g7, rook to h2, king to g6, king to f1, rook on h to d8, rook to e2, king to g7, king to g2, knight to e7, king to h3, knight to g6, rook to f1, rook to c6, rook to f3, bishop to b4, bishop takes on d4, bishop to c5, q into a1, rook on d to c8, and q into g1. So if you look at this position, after 35 moves into the game, Abdusattrov is having a slight advantage of -2. And I want you to pause this video for a moment and try to figure out the brilliant move Abdusattrov can play in this position that will increase his advantage. Kudos if you are able to figure out the brilliant move played by Abdusattrov in this position. The square, the c3 square, is guarded by both the knight on b5 and the bishop on d4. And the move Abdusattrov played is square being guarded by two pieces, he will jump this knight to that square anyway, giving away his knight. The problem with this move is that if the bishop decided to go and take this knight, then what happens next? The queen is hanging. Game over. So if the knight decided and capture this knight, then what happens next? Once again, bishop takes on d4. Attack on the knight, attack on the queen. And he can't save both. And once again, game over. Alexander Prudke continues with bishop takes on c5, queen takes on c5, queen takes on c5, rook takes on c5, rook to d2, knight takes on b5, a takes on b5, rook to c3, king to g3, knight to f8, king to f2, knight to d7, king to e2, knight to c5, king to d1, a4, b takes on a4, rook to a8, rook to g2, rook takes on a4, g6, knight takes on d3, g takes on f7 with check, king takes on f7, c takes on d3, rook to a1 with check, king to d2, d4, rook on f to g3, rook to a2 with check, king to d1, rook takes on g2, rook takes on g2, rook takes on d3 with check, rook to d2, rook to h3, rook takes on d4, rook takes on h4, b6, king to e8, rook to c4, rook to g4, king to e2, h4, king to f3, rook to g1, king to f2, rook to b1, rook to c8 with check, king to f7, rook to c7 with check, king to g6, rook takes on b7, king to h5, rook to g7, h3. So if you look at this position, after 63 moves into the game, Abdusattrov was having a slight advantage earlier on, but now the match is again back to balance. So the right continuation here for the draw is playing the counterplay by pushing the b pawn, but instead he will go for a check, which is rook to g5 with check, and this is a big mistake. And now Abdusattrov is completely winning this game with an advantage of -5.8. So the right continuation here for Abdusattrov is getting away from the check, obviously, and he played the king to h4, now b7, and this doesn't help because rook can go and capture the pawn, rook to g6, rook to b2 with check, king to f3, rook to b3 with check, king to f2, h2, rook to h6 with check, king to g4, king to g2, rook to b6, and it was in this position after 70 moves into the game. Alexander Prudke has resigned the game to Norderberg Abdusattrov, as there is nothing more to be done in this position. And Uzbekistan went on to defeat Serbia and climbed up the point tables, and they are thus number two position, just behind India in the at the end of round 8 of FIDE Olympiad. The reason for resignation is pretty much obvious here. This king will wind up taking all these pawns. If Pratke decide to continue this game, the best continuation here is capture this pawn. King takes on h2, and they can continue like king takes on f4, king to h3, and king takes on e5. So if you look at this position, Abdusattrov is this game is already end game, and Abdusattrov is 2 pawns up, and that is pretty much it. There's nothing more to be explained about that, and this is an easy win for Abdusattrov. So for saying this, Alexander Pratke has resigned after rook to b6.